Kylan said something along the lines of like, once Jay was like, this is why I didn't want this to happen, Kylan, analytical brain, is like, well, who should have done this? And then Berna comes at him because she's still heated over their disagreement the other day. And Nerys is like, oh no.
Why do you want to know everything?
Berna, shut up.
Nerys, don't talk to me like this.
I'm already down here. I'll walk over there and pop you in the face, so shut the up.
Come on then.
Shut the up.
Come on.
You're a dumbass bitch.
Hey.
And I was just, and then she's like,
people,
and then she says,
I think the most shocking part was Olivia saving Mariah before me. You are supposedly my other number one.
Yeah.
That seat next to you was not supposed to be Mariah's, no matter what.
I'm sorry. No.
You're sorry.
I'm just surprised that you picked, you being Olivia, picked Mariah over me. Like, that never should have been a thing, ever. What up, Challenge fans? This is Final Lines Podcast. We are recapping episode 16 of the Challenge, season 39, titled Family Knows Best.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of like shook by this episode. This episode was incredible. Like, the best episode I've seen in a long time. I feel like this season has been a little bit of a slow burn. Like, it was kind of like started slow. There were episodes where I was kind of like, why are we even recapping this? Because I don't know that I'm all that interested, even though there were people I cared about. This episode was fantastic. Now, don't love who went home and how it all went down.
Yeah, but
was it? I mean, like, I wanted more. I wanted more, and that's what I, as a Challenge fan, have been wanting, is to want more. So, what did you think?
Well, okay. So the whole thing, like, it's rare. We've talked about this so many times where it's like, we've talked to the fans of this podcast. We've talked to each other. And when they dupe me, like, they will take you where they want to go. And I completely think I was duped because they got me with Olivia and everything else, and then whatever else. And I would never have saw coming what happened at the end of this, of, voting or saying someone's name. I was just completely shocked. And I'm like, I should have known. I'm smarter than this. We talk about this. I do a podcast with Sarah about this. This is insane. And how did we not see this coming? It was a good episode. It really was a good episode. It was. And I mean, the challenge, it wasn't an overwhelming challenge to me. That's it. Would I like to do it? Of course. And we always talk about, would you like to do it? I would have loved to do that challenge. I've repelled before, so it's not, to me, I'm like, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But it's a good premise and whatever else. I liked it.
I thought the challenge looked like a lot of fun. I liked the difficulty level of, you've got to be the fastest and the closest, because that, you could, I feel like, I could probably do it fast, but am I going to be able to stop in time? I don't know. Or do you play it safe and, go slow or go fast, but stop halfway, or, whatever. But yeah, the challenge looked like fun, looked like a beautiful day.
Yeah. I mean, how you repel, whatever else. I mean, I guess I didn't pay attention, like, their back and their front. I mean, I know when they first thing, like, let it go, Horacio's like joking around with James, like, do this and that. But how you repel, that wasn't that big of a deal. It sucked about Horacio's hand. Like, that right away, I'm like, oh boy, that's a big deal. Like, it's huge. But he was right up there till the end,
Oh, for sure. And James burned his hand as well.
Yeah.
No offense to James fans, but okay.
Yeah. It was kind of like he kind of was like, even alluding to that, cramped up or whatever else, but it wasn't like the same like Horacios. I mean, he's in the water. You can see him like, oh boy, that's not good. This can't be good. Can't be good. But he did a great job overall. Yeah, I think more this episode, outside of that challenge, there's a social dynamic and there's a lot of things to dissect that we can, but Yeah, I mean, like you said, you'd like to do it. At first, I was like, I don't know if I'd like to do it, and then I was like, well, I've repelled. Doesn't bother me that much. It didn't throw me off like, oh, right away, like on the edge of my seat. Like this is a great type of thing to do. And
I
then I was like,
liked that. I'd forgotten that the bottom person goes home.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
like it happened last week, but yeah, this week I was like, oh, that's right. Oh my God, the bottom person goes home. And this is the type of challenge that it could be anybody that
of
goes
course,
home.
yeah, yeah. And
I
that's
mean,
what they want. And
likely not one of our heavy hitters, but
but
our
maybe not. How about so?
middle to bottom people, it could be anybody,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
we talked last week. We're like, where are the numbers at? Where are we going towards this? Like, how much is going home each time, or whatever else? And obviously, it's been expedited, so we can talk more about that. But yeah,
I was a little surprised that Ed was the one that went home. I didn't want it to be Ed just because I enjoy him. Uh,
hmm
James is probably a sweetheart of a human being, but he's just not doing it for me. So I wanted it to be him to go home.
he doesn't. Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. He just doesn't bring that the one-on-one, the confessional element that Ed does.
Right.
I came into this game hungry for a win. My social game was on point, baby. And I think that's why I managed to get through this whole time and not ever touch the sand.
One hell of a season, man. Take care of yourself, Ed. Thanks for being here.
Or just even like the interactions in the house. Like,
oh, absolutely. Like, how many
and it
times have we
could just
seen
be
now, and how many episodes that he's on a treadmill and they're trying to talk to him like, hey, you seem to be social. He's like, that's not me. It's not me. But then you have Ed, who's great, and he's talking about everything, and he's got full of energy. He's a ball of energy. And you're like, this guy's great. And when he's been on previous seasons when we did the podcast, we're like, this guy is definitely coming back. He's coming back every time. He's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people on the internet not a huge fan of Ed, which surprised me. But I don't know. Maybe it's like the Midwest in us. It's like we just enjoy someone with like high energy that's just like fun to be around. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yep.
And that could also be like as far as James, like he's a little bit quieter. That could be, I don't know, maybe cultural. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't want Ed to go home, but it wasn't someone that I cared about Ed. I enjoyed Ed, but I wasn't gonna like it wasn't a situation where I was gonna be like crying about it.
No. It's not. And again, for the long time listeners and viewers of this podcast, they'll know, like, back in the day before we started doing this, like, if Bananas was out, I'm out. Ed doesn't have that to me where I'm like, Ed's out, I don't want to watch the show anymore. You know what I'm saying? It
Right.
wasn't until you and I started talking more and more, because the challenge has been going on for a long time, but we started talking more about things like, and you're like, did you watch it before we started doing the podcast? I'm like, Bananas out, I'm out. You know, it felt kind of about the same way as CT, but Ed doesn't bring that to the table for me where I'm just like, nah, it was fun, but I'm out, you know?
Well, and with this cast, there have been like the one ringer, the one like goat, and they went out at this point, like a Bananas, like a CT, a West for me. Aside from the things that we saw in this episode, because this episode drew me the freak in. It like pulled
Yep.
at me. I was like, oh, I need more. Yeah, I could see that heavy hitter going home in that situation would have been kind of like, I don't know, you know, but yeah, I enjoyed Ed this season. I think we will see him again. There were a couple other people that DQ'd, being James and Corey, which surprised me. I didn't think Corey was going to be the one to go home. I thought for sure it was going to be James.
I thought it was James, 100%. Yeah.
And the sucky part was, and it's been talked about on social media, and I think Ed even said it in his interview, was like, at that point that Ed went, James had already fallen in the water. Ed's sitting pretty in his alliance. He likely would have been safe. But he had just won, and he was hungry for a win. The competitiveness inside him, we all have that, athletes. And he really wanted to try to go for that win, and that's what screwed him over.
Yeah. Hey, you can't fault him for that, but like you said, there's 2 others that did that, so, I don't know. It's
I could see Corey essentially, like, maybe trying for it because he's low in the pecking order in his alliance. And specifically because Kyland and Horacio had done so well.
Yeah. I will say this, in going back to this challenge that we just talked about or whatever else, and I was like, kind of whatever. But now talking to you, like, I do appreciate this challenge because it is very gender neutral. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's no, so I do like that a lot. Looking back, because at first I was like, this is okay, and then talking to you, I'm like, yeah, okay. And now thinking about it, now talking with you more, I'm like, I do appreciate something like that. It's just like, here it is. You're gonna free fall, cut at any time. You can or you can't. So, and like you said, you had people, you had ideas. You thought Corey be okay. No, So Ed, James. So I mean, yeah, not a bad one. And I know spelling bee is gender neutral. I know all that other stuff, but usually in the past, we've seen the highlights. It's usually men versus men, females versus females during that. But this is overall, the winner just gets it. So, yeah.
And I think based on what we saw in the elimination, and we'll talk about it later, that makes me excited moving forward to the final.
Okay.
That there will be those kind of equalizers that don't necessarily have to do with like male versus female. It's just not tailored in one way that like this gender would probably get this more than this gender.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to see what this final is. And I've liked a lot of the challenges this season, looking back, honestly. I do want to talk about, I love my homegirl, Olivia. I love her very much. But this episode did not paint her in a good light.
I thought so much about this, like going into before we were going to do this, we were going to talk about this, because she was so gracious on her show and to spend her time and did everything else. And how dare we like say a foul word about someone who took time for us or whatever? But
and I
again,
mean, even will like have conversations with me, like when I like respond to something. She's so sweet,
Yeah.
But
and when I
mean,
said like producers will take you somewhere, and when I felt duped, they duped me on her. And not say she didn't do her own things. Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure. With me? You've got to make choices in the game.
She's bawling her eyes out when Kylan and Horacio was like playing their little game, and she's like, he sacrificed himself for me, and he was so true to me. I will never ever question him again. I will never do this, whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, good for her, like knowing this stuff, blah blah blah, because we love Horacio, and fine, but and we love Olivia.
And she loves Horacio.
And going on and on and on, and like, oh my goodness, like, yeah, like she, and then like it's kind of like I didn't think it'd go this far. Their little like routine or their game or whatever else you want to call it, rouge. Like rouge is a better word, yeah. And then she comes in, but she's not. Instead of being like, "F you guys for doing this to me and make me feel this," she's like, "I felt so bad. I missed you so much, blah blah blah, and you're my number one." And then what do we go to? She's like, yeah.
There was that clip. That clip that from Jay from like a week before when he was like, she told me it was okay if he went.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's bullshit, Jay. No, she didn't. And then it's like, show the clip, and I'm like, oh. All right. But I mean, you have conversations in the house like that, like I feel like all the time like, yeah, I don't want to be against, if this is a one winner season, I don't want to go against him. Like, I get that.
Yeah, but it comes down
But
to like saying names later on, and she knows like how the list should go, and she doesn't do it. She's just like, the people I'm working with, the people I'm working with. Like, she completely flip flops.
the bookend of this episode, like, is her crying upset that she thought Horacio went home. Then
Yeah.
there's the making the decision to vote Mariah or to pick Mariah, not Nerys. That's the middle. And then the end, and then the conversation with Nerys. And then the end is Nerys coming back being like, I'm ready to freaking start a fire and burn this house to the ground.
Yep, absolutely.
And with
Which-
the oh my God, with that music as
And
she
I
was
think we're all
walking up.
fine with Nerys. I think we're all like fist pumping, being like, "Yep, do it."
I kind of want to raise hell because I am pissed. I don't care to have anybody's back. I just want to make it to the final and smoke everybody.
Do it, kid.
Mhm.
You know?
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. They, and it's been very interesting because, I have been on this journey with Kyland where it was like, hate him, annoyed with him, or it was like, I like him, hate him, annoyed with him. I kind of get it. And then this episode, I was like, I love him. He's wonderful. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then I've always loved Horacio, have liked Nerys, and I say liked just because like I didn't get to know her very much on the last season and I didn't know her from other shows. So like I built my relationship as a viewer with her this season. And those three teaming up and becoming the underdogs that everybody is rooting for was a gorgeous story for them to tell on the show.
Completely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. If you, and again, not to keep beating it over and over, but people watching a show, people listening, whatever else, they'll know. Like I said, like Kylan does this or Kylan does that, or I don't know about him or whatever. And then I said, like Kylan won this episode. I really like Kylan. I don't know if I'm supposed to. Kylan. And when he was with Vernon, he's like, I don't care anymore. I don't care. And he's like, I'm just done dealing with this. Like, and when he's, and even he even said something. It wasn't like my head doesn't, because there was a moment where I'm like, oh my goodness, he's going to rely on like saying that, he's on the spectrum. He's like, my head doesn't deal with this. It deals in facts or something like that, reality. And Vernon
like
was
analytical or whatever.
And I was like, yeah, he was right though. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a thing of like a spectrum thing. And dude, I've come full circle with him. I'm right there with you where I've been like, I don't know where I'm going with this guy. I didn't like him in Big Brother. Didn't like him on the challenge. And here we are. And I'm not going to like him. But it happens. I mean, go through the history. Hey, it's all right. Go through the history. Never really was a big fan of Devin. You know that. So it's good for him. Good for him and if that's an editing thing, sorry about the dogs. I apologize. They're just dogs. But
they're Kylan fans too.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But yeah. and here's the thing though. When we talk about editing, I don't think he's an editing thing. I really don't. I think it's just a matter of his personality with other personalities, and you're seeing like how he deals with them, and you're like, you know what? I would deal with that the exact same way Kylan did. Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And from what everyone has said and what we have seen, Berna can be emotional and abrasive. Now, the way that interaction started, he poked her. She was not trying for any kind of a fight. She was all like, I felt bad that you guys were in. Like, she was coming from, like, I really don't think she was being, like, phony. She was just like, oh, that really sucked. Like, you guys are all friends and you had to go in. And then,
well, I do.
But then him being like, one, those are my friends. And two, I've seen you be abrasive around the house. Fairly, I have balloons. Uh, I get him responding the way that he did.
Didn't work. No, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
And for him to be like, well, if you don't like it, then change the votes. And she said something like, well, you told me to shut up. He's like, no, I didn't. I said, be quiet. And then it gets, and she's like, well, because I'm not as kind as you are. And he's all like cuddling Nerys. And he's like, we all know you're not kind. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
like if that was, I mean, legit, I was like, oh, because like that was entertaining as
Sarah,
hell.
I'm telling you, she's not kind. And then they make a cut to her talking to, I forget who, Manuel, being like, oh, my mom, I thought we had a close relation, but I didn't. They're trying to build her up to be something. He's calling her out, and I'm with him. Listen, and I'm not in that house, whatever else, but he's calling it out. Like he nails like 3 people in a row. Like they don't trust you. They don't think you're kind. She's like, oh, and she's
Right.
like, oh, I get this, and then we have this backstory that's not necessary. Who cares? Play the role that you are.
We all know as like grown adults that people act a certain way in general based on their life experiences, right? So to see that she has this relationship with her mother that is not going well and her mother is ill in some way, I can understand a little bit of where she is and how she is the way that she is. Now, does that mean you are free to treat people in a certain way? No, but it does mean there is a reason that she acts and behaves the way that she does. She's guarded.
No, it's fine. Yeah. We spent way too much time on this, though, about her, though, to be honest with you.
But okay, so here's the thing. All right. So we see a phone call with Manuel and his mom, and it's beautiful, and like they love each other, and it's like super cute. There's this conversation with Berna and Emmanuel, about her mother. I initially had thought that meant that those two maybe were going to go in, right? Because a video call usually means something to that nature.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is that now meaning that they want us, the viewers, to have some buy-in with them to root for them later?
No,
Because I
there's
gotta
no
tell you,
buy-in.
I gotta tell you, last couple episodes, I've been rooting for Emmanuel a little bit harder. I've been thinking he looks a little bit cuter than I used to.
That should be an interesting segment that we should do at the end. Who you buying stock in? That's an interesting point.
We did that initially in the very beginning of our podcast. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't with those two. I mean, I don't know
that Berna would win. I don't know that Berna would win. I think that she'd
win
rubs too many people the wrong way.
Dukes. That's what she'd win. She's not going to win this.
She does look cute in Daisy Dukes. I'll give her that.
No, at Daisy Dukes, not in Daisy Dukes. Amateur night.
Oh, goodness gracious. I don't think that she could win. I think that she rubs too many people the wrong way. I know that she struggles at puzzles. She's not going to win. But Emmanuel, on the other hand, I think is charming.
Yeah.
Has the abilities. I think he could win.
She's not going to win. I mean, I just don't understand how you
I
can
don't
see
know.
it. I mean, we've talked about this. He's like the poor man's Kyle. He's Kyle and Jace. He's not ever gonna
and
get there.
I did think about that.
He has no,
because I thought about some more parallel. I did think about some more parallels because remember when Kyle first came on and with the ladies.
Yeah. That was his thing. Yeah.
Manuel with the ladies. So that is another parallel. I don't know. I do think that he has the ability to win.
A challenge. Or whatever else. Not the overall challenge.
I don't know.
A daily challenge. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
when Ed lost and went home, there's a cut to Olivia in an interview where she says like karma's a bitch.
Yeah, that was strange. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Because of the way that the voting went last week. Because she was at the bottom of the vote.
Yeah.
And Nerys had to, pick between her people, and she saved Olivia. I thought that was interesting. This episode just had so much strategy. Like, it was all strategy. Michelle had a really good line that I really understood and appreciated, which was, she's like,
as Jay is writing every single list, there's literally not one that works. Champagne problems, right? Like, I have so many friends in this game, that's why I've been protected, but now I'm feeling the hangover.
And that is why I love this portion of the challenge. I love this conquest, because they do have to pick one person, and then it's a house of cards, however it's gonna go. But then it's also so frustrating with who's gonna vote for who.
Yeah. And the same thing. They act like, we talked about this last week, talked about 2 weeks ago too. Like, they act like they need to run the house as like veterans, but it's like you've never won. So can we just stop with that? Like
But okay,
that's the
so
way it's
here's
supposed to be.
I get that premise, but yeah, they've all never won. I don't think they're trying to be anybody else, though. I don't think they're trying to like come in and be Wes. I don't think they're trying to come in and be Bananas. I think they're trying to figure it out to a certain point, like on their own. It's like the blind leading the blind as far as the challenge goes. We have people that have won Survivor. We have people that have won Love Island and The Circle, like other shows. Well, actually, I don't think Ed won The Circle, but whatever.
But I mean, no, it's fair. But I mean, they're still like, Michelle and Jay are trying to act like this is the way it's supposed to go, and if you don't follow it, because we've been doing it so long, and not really. And can I just, for a side note here, and this is just personally or whatever else, because of our history with this show, whatever. And again, it's no secret that I'm not the biggest Jay fan or whatever. But if he calls him Tej one more time, I feel like I have more relationship with TJ. And I know he's been around him probably more than me, but I'm like, you've been around him like 26 episodes a season, and I watched this for how long? I don't call him Tej. Call him TJ. And then Jay's like, I don't know, Tej. I got to make this hard decision. So Jay, calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see your frustration with that. Yeah, because that is like a Bananas gets to call him Tej.
I don't even know if I like Bananas doing it now that you think about
He
it. I have to go
does.
back.
Bananas calls him Tej.
He does, yeah. You're right. Yeah. I shouldn't be so quick to judge.
Tej had the like tan colored out shirts.
You called him Tej.
Well, we're like super cool. Me and Tej, who like never responds to any of our like anything ever, because he does not live on social media, nor does he care at all about our tiny podcast. But you know what, Tej, now that just made me want to be like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, yeah. So let's get through the whole like nomination process, because it gets a little bit nuts there too.
There were all these conversations about how it could go, and I do understand Jay's frustration. Like, Michelle's all like, well, it's in your hands. And he's like, it's not in my hands. Like, I literally pick one person, and then it's like that. And he's got his notebook going, like Laurel style, of all the different ways it could go. And of course, Michelle's very like who do I pick? There was conversations at the party night about like maybe Olivia, maybe Colleen. You know, like we all knew it was going to be Kyland and Horacio no matter what, but like who would be the female? And they, you know, they're speculating that last week one went home. So they're essentially, I feel like, thinking like who's an expendable female. They're not thinking, I feel like, of like who's gonna take out Horacio or Kylan. They're thinking of who's an expendable female.
Yeah. But yeah. Then each tells them different.
Right? Oh, that was something. I almost feel like at this point, you know, because there are different like spoiler things out there. Like GamerVev is like the biggest like spoiler out there. And I'm like so tempted at this point to like look at spoilers because like I just at this point I cannot like I can't like I need to know what happens. But like I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. It's like opening your presents on or like before Christmas, like finding them like where they're hidden like in the closet or whatever and opening them.
Yeah.
But I really don't know how it's gonna go. We do have to mention for a second that Nerys is frustrated. She is thinking about going home.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like a real I want to go home thing, but I think she was just very frustrated because like it continued to go the same way. And I think that the house does something to you as far as like your sanity.
Well, hopefully someone pulled her aside and said,
well, they did.
We're not like that. Yeah.
They did. And the people that did that were Olivia and Michelle. And Olivia was like, I'd save you. Like, you're good. And then like 12 hours later, it was different.
Yeah. But what's the guy you don't...
I absolutely understand that why Nerys reacted the way that she did because of all these things leading up to it.
Yeah, my point is that the lesson to be learned is you quit, and TJ says you're quitting. Your chance of coming back have gone down drastically, like 60% coming back.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, hopefully someone pull her aside and be like, I know you're frustrated. I know you're the snap. I know you've got this. I know you have these feelings. But you don't get the TJ side. You are effed and you're never coming back. So, and what did she say? She's working this for her grandma or her dad or whatever else, or her mom or whatever. So,
family that she supports.
Yeah.
Which is not all that uncommon. That's not all that uncommon in people on reality TV that they support their family.
Yeah, the moral story is don't quit on the challenge because you can always come back at some point and it's something else. Now, obviously, they have different animals now with the world or whatever else, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. Yeah,
right. So we get to the selection. This editing was like chef's kiss. Did your mouth go to the floor and you were like, "Oh my god, it's gonna happen. They're gonna be cool."
Yep. 100%. That's why I felt like I said earlier. I felt so duped by this. Yeah. Well, being dumb, not duped.
And that early in the selection was just like, oh my god. So it goes Jay, of course, because he won.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick, his first time rappelling in Vegas with using his phone as a flashlight. That was a weird story.
Yeah,
kind of a weird flex, bro.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Absolutely, yeah.
But also, yeah, I could never do that. I can say it's a weird flex, bro, but like, I would have not done that. Yeah. All right, so Jay obviously picks Michelle.
Everything Jay says is almost a weird flex, bro. Almost. So, yeah.
He picks Michelle, and I say obviously, but he earlier had been talking about picking Emmanuel. But he came to his senses, and he's like, nah, I'm going to pick Michelle. She's my ride or die. I'm picking her. Then she picks Olivia, and we're all like, what?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Yep. So now I'm thinking, we are all thinking,
She's gonna pick Nerys, like or Horacio, but probably Nerys, like because they're besties. We've seen this all
I
season.
think so.
She picks Mariah. And Mariah earlier was all like, when they were talking about the vote, she was all like, "Well, you have to think about James because like I'm with James," and I'm like, "Oh, for the love," and nothing against their relationship or whatever, but like, think about the relationships you had prior to this.
Yep.
And then she picks James. James picks Manuel. Manuel picks Berna. Predictable.
This is all a
Bern-
spiral. We all know it. Yeah. We're all
Berna
angry at
picks
this time.
Colleen. Colleen picks Corey. Then Jay's all pissed because he's like, this is not what I wanted. Like, this is the opposite of what I wanted. Like, I didn't want Maurice to be in this situation. And then he's kind of like mad at Colleen. And Colleen's like, well, you never talked to me, which I get Colleen's perspective.
Yeah. Sure. Irrelevant. Yeah.
Colleen has a really good line. She said,
if you have friends like Olivia, you don't need enemies in your life.
Yeah. Well, I don't. We can speak still highly of her, but it was a good line, and that's going to be one of the lines that wins the episode. But yeah, but there was a lot of good ones this episode, to be honest with you. But yes, I get it. Yeah,
a lot of them that we like probably shouldn't say.
Yeah,
like everything that Nerys said to Berna.
Yeah.
So then, like, okay, it's Nerys, it's Horacio, it's Kylan. TJ is like, comes in and is like, what's happening? And Kylan said something along the lines of like, once Jay was like, this is why I didn't want this to happen, Kylan, analytical brain, is like, well, who should have done this? And then Berna comes at him because she's still heated over their disagreement the other day. And Nerys is like, oh no.
Why do you want to know everything?
Berna, shut up.
Nerys, don't talk to me like this.
I'm already down here. I'll rock over there and pop you in the face, so shut the up.
Come on, then.
Shut the up.
Come on.
You're a dumbass bitch.
Hey.
And I was just, and then she's like,
people, yeah.
and then she says,
I think the most shocking part was Olivia saving Mariah before me. You are supposedly my other number one.
Yeah.
That seat next to you was not supposed to be Mariah's, no matter what.
I'm sorry. No.
You're sorry.
I'm just surprised that you picked, you being Olivia, picked Mariah over me. Like, that never should have been a thing, ever. Like, these are real life friends. And, like,
you're number one or whatever else. And Olivia can't she can't figure it out. Like, she's been on like Jay's side of things, and she said, I can't do this. I'm obviously on the lower portion of the totem pole. And then she's like, I crying her eyes out of Horacio. She just isn't figuring out this game. I'm not saying she hasn't figured out the game. She did not figure out this portion of the game, of the challenge.
Agreed. And, she said it. She's like, I'm in survival mode. Can I
interrupt you? It's not a good look for her because it makes it look like Horacio really did carry her to where she was the last time. And I don't want to speak ill of her because I think she's going to always be a challenge person.
I don't think that that's how it went last season. I think last season he was wonderful and very good. They were with the right vets, but her political game is what got them as far as it got them.
Okay.
Because I think it was their relationship with Bananas that kept them safe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
it's like to get to the final.
Then how do you go from one side to being so terrible your political game that she's doing now? Like, how do you? Maybe the cards just aligned her again. I don't care. I mean, she could block us or whatever else, but the cards aligned when she was there to get there, and maybe she's just not that good at political right now because it's really. And again, it's also an editor's cut. So maybe they're making her look like she doesn't know what she's doing. So it's an editor's cut. We always say that.
I think that the Michelle J alliance has kind of been like a dictatorship, like dictating so much of the game. And there was that big alliance.
Mhm.
And as things went on, it was easy to pick off people early, of course. As things went on, as they do in every challenge, then sides were formed. And I don't think that she knew what to do. And I think
Sure.
that she saw who won the last two challenges, and she thought, I need to keep myself safe, and this is what I got to do.
No, that's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah.
Versus the other side, the loyalty factor. Love how loyal Nerys is being, and we're all rooting for her.
Yeah. No, I think that's
On
I think
another
everything you
side,
said
though,
is
I
right.
really do hope these two figure it out as friends, though. Because what we've seen with past people on the challenge, not the vets, but that middle ground of vets, like the Tories and the Devons and the Corys, that middle ground of vets, is you've got to play, sadly, for not just this season, but seasons in the future. And I say sadly because we've seen them make kind of boring
Sure.
moves on
Sure.
seasons because they're working with people for seasons in the future. But I don't know. With that being said, I'm just curious to see how that all pans out.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, you have to. And then, I mean, hopefully the reunion will all play itself out, and we'll figure out a little bit more. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think the reunion's
I'm
going to be really good.
yeah, I'm obviously we're talking about this episode, but I'm really excited for you to get me through the finals, so then we can talk about CT,
Oh, yeah,
and we
yeah.
can talk about everything else. So yeah,
First of all, Kylan having his uniform on, that throwback moment was amazing. Throwback to I slept in my uniform last night so I could, because I wanted to win today. I feel like he was throwing that back because he's studied the challenge and he's like, I already had my uniform on.
yeah.
It was so good. Love that. As a challenge fan, beautiful. Appreciate that about you. The Nerys and Olivia talk we do need to discuss because she does say, look, my brother said that this is what you're saying about me.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically what he said was true. And I appreciated her being open about that. And then Olivia on the other side was like, well, she was just sitting around waiting for me to fail her. I'm like, and also I could see how that would be hurtful. But at the same time, have you ever had a friend that's someone warned you about and you're like, nah, we're good. And then they do cross you and you're like,
yeah, but that's a tough thing. Listen, that's a tough thing to pull off when you're like, oh, so the entire time our friendship wasn't real because you were waiting for me to fail you because someone did else. That's
well, that's the
not fun.
entirety of their relationship, the last month, right?
It's not a relationship. I mean, what did they say? What did Michelle say earlier? She's like, so I'm supposed to pick you over. I'm supposed to pick you. I'm supposed to not go with the person I know over someone I just met 5 weeks ago. Michelle said the most honest thing there. I've known you 5 weeks, and then I don't know how long what you're talking about, their relationship is, but still,
I think it's
you're
been
probably
years, I think.
sure. Is it, or is it just on Instagram DMs and whatever else. Like, are they like
No, I think it's
rolling
I think it's
doesn't
like they
matter.
like talked every day kind of situation.
Cool. They got a snap streak. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
I don't. I
it's
mean,
not
I
a.
don't know. I don't
It's
think
not
they
a big
live in
deal.
the same city,
I
but
don't.
I don't
Hey,
live in the
listen,
same city
listen.
as
We
my
can.
best friend.
Yeah, we can fast forward to this. Olivia lost this episode. We can fast forward. Okay, like that's the whole
Agreed.
thing. Yeah.
Agreed.
So yeah, no matter what she said, what she did, or anything like that, it just did not work out for her this episode.
No,
So yeah.
did not work out. Can we though talk about this elimination? I'm not going to clap because I feel like it's going to sound weird on like the microphone, but like slow clap for Maurice.
I agree.
Holy
Yep.
shit.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like she was the underdog going into this. I think she thought
Of
that
course she was.
quite likely she was going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there. Tej says, no, 2 are going home this time.
Yep.
So that was kind of like a mind blown situation.
Yeah.
And it's similar to what we saw last week, but it's slightly different. The checkpoints are
Mm-hmm.
different. I also noticed, so where Zara had struggled on that rope climbing situation on the wall, there was no longer a rope and there were like things to climb, like foot
Sure.
spots.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yep. Like a rock climbing foot
One of
spots.
those
Yeah.
where they like,
Yep.
they tweaked it. They're like, yeah, that's kind of like shitty to do for specifically a female.
Yeah.
I think they
Thinking
absolutely
about it, yeah.
modified that as they should have. So same thing, 3 checks. They got to run. There's obstacles. There's a balance beam where then they got to do like 39 chains. There's one where they got to climb a wall, recreate a picture with a puzzle. It's like a duck goose situation.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? Oh, then the balance beam with the stacking, and then you
Yep.
climb under the mud. Nerese went the opposite way of the guys to start. She went to the chains first, I believe.
Yes, I do believe so. Yeah.
Oh my god! And when it started, and they had those like little like white blocks to climb over, and she was like, "What the fuck?" I was like dying, like because they've like they've done this before. They're like, "Oh, I've done this before." Like, I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
She gets her chains done immediate, like pretty fast. It seems like the guys are struggling with the goose puzzle. We'll just call it the goose puzzle. She's on to her second, and Horacio then is like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna like gamble and stop this and like go on to another one because it's not working for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which then I was like, oh no. Did you think that? Okay, who did you think was gonna win this going in?
I mean, it's a great question because I'm gambler by nature, so I would have said that Horacio is minus 110. Okay, meaning like you're gonna put up 100. You have to put up 110 to $100. Okay, but Kylan's not too far off. All right, so I would have put him at minus 105. Okay, so you're gonna have to put up $105 to win $100. And she would have put, honestly, sorry, be mad at me all you want, but I would have put her at plus 370, 450. Meaning, if you bet 100, you would win $370, $450. There's no doubt about that. And I thought about
We know
that the
she's
entire
a
time. I'm glad. And we didn't talk about this beforehand, by the way, full disclosure. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought about what the odds were, in my head, what they would be. So.
well, and like, I mean, look at what like the season has been like, especially lately. It's been like Kylan and Horacio are either winning or like close to winning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I remembered her winning any challenges that weren't teams. I'm not sure, but like she's always been like a good competitor. And I always thought she was a strong girl, but like absolutely I thought Horacio was gonna take this. I thought he was gonna take this.
Yeah,
So when he's
I
like,
did,
I'm
yeah.
gambling and I'm running, then I'm like, oh no, like what's happening? But at
Yeah.
the same time, like my heart was torn. And at this point, like I like Kyland. I love Nerys. I love Horacio. So like I was gonna be happy with whoever went home, but like I didn't like watching it at the same time because I was like, I hate that these people are in the situation.
Yeah.
That's where they got us.
I'm
You
with
know?
you. Yeah.
Horacio and Nerys are at the balance beam thing, and that's Nerys's last one.
Mhm.
He gets it like almost immediately. And it gives us kind of like the like video game like ding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that so easy? And I'm like, oh, okay, she's gonna get this and then she's gonna win, I think, you know? And then it seems like she tries like so many more times, and then like he's just like like to the next one, you know. Kylan gets the goose puzzle, then he's on to the
Mhm.
next one.
Yep.
And what I thought was beautiful is, you know, because they're all friends, like they all like cheered for each other. Like they didn't help each other, but they all like cheered for each other while it was going on. And TJ has been so fun during these eliminations, these last two episodes where he is cheering for people. Like I love watching it. I love seeing TJ like get excited and being like, good job, you know. It gets to the end and you know, they're, you know, Nerys has her third puzzle done. You know, she like throws the flag because she's got to like crawl under the mud
Yeah.
and gets under it. And they both, you know, they being Kylan and Horacio, like see that she's getting it, and they just like are smiling and clapping for her. And TJ
Good.
is like so freaking excited, you know, just like I can't believe you did it. That's so amazing.
Nerys, well done! Oh my gosh, you did it! Great job! Wow!
It was so good. It was so good. It was exactly like what we didn't expect to happen, but it was like so freaking amazing.
I'm so with you. Like we didn't expect to happen, but we know the foreshadowing because if she gets thrown in again, TJ's gonna go, this girl knocked out Horacio and Kylan. This girl did that. You know, like, or if we have something where she gets to come back for whatever, you know, champions or challengers, like this girl did this. He's gonna do her verbal resume like he does for Cara Marie or Anissa or whatever else. She's got the verbal resume that TJ is gonna deliver every time, and that's what makes it awesome.
If I were to have a magic wand, you know what I'd want? Her to be safe from the next elimination because of this elimination.
Yeah, and
I think she earned that.
if she goes down again, he's gonna. I mean, how we've talked about this before, but when that stern talking to, like we're through the screen, we're not even there, and we're like, oh my god, he's mad. Like not even Grandpa TJ, not Uncle TJ, just like TJ. He doesn't even have to have the first part of it, you know. When he gives like, why is she down here? And he's looking at everyone. Why is she down here? Look at what she did. Like I said, the verbal resume, and you can feel it through the screen. You're like, oh boy. And I think she got that. I think she got that brass ring.
Yes. She absolutely earned her TJ's respect. Hard. Like a Cara Maria, for sure. And then they have this beautiful, like, you know, like they're all like hugging each other. It's so sweet. And then that we have this you know, montage of Nerys and Horacio that is just so sweet. We also
Yeah.
saw earlier where Horacio was talking about like, you know, don't take this game personally. Like I always say that until it gets personal.
Yeah.
And you know, that was in regards to like him and Nerys being voted in, and then also like Olivia, like essentially like quote unquote screwing them over. Um there was just like so much depth to this episode. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
she's walking in all quiet with that like song, that like I don't know, like sad but like somewhat powerful song. And
Yeah.
I'm like, get him. Like that's how I felt. I was like, you go get him.
It's not, but she doesn't have the numbers. It's going to be.
No, she doesn't, but it was so
No.
exciting.
I know we're all supporting of her, but she doesn't have the numbers. So like, this is the beauty of the challenge. This is what gets you in. This is the drama that it is, because you're like, go in there and burn it all down. And then you're like, F these people, because it doesn't happen. I mean, realistically, it's not going to
Right.
happen. And that's what sucks you in, because you're like, I'm going to watch her do this. Now she's got the motivation. It's probably not going to happen. But anyway.
All right, now at this point in the game, there are 10 people left. There are 6 women and 4 men. Olivia, Nerese, Mariah, Michelle, Berna, Colleen, Jay, Emmanuel, Corey, James. These eliminations have had, nothing to do with gender or whatever, but it does make me question, are they going to potentially have some sort of an elimination pre-final? Maybe women? To make it even going into the final. Or are they going to continue to roll the dice and just be like, see what happens?
You would think so, but I'm sorry. I mean, I don't think they're going to roll the dice and be like, all of a sudden it's like all like 6 male challenge. You know what I'm saying? The finalists or whatever else. I find it hard to believe. I don't.
The 6 women, 4 men. I think if it was the other side, if it was 6 men, 4 women, they would make it even.
Yeah. So
I feel like.
I think they'll find a way to make it a little bit more even. So
if I had my producer hat on, I'd be like, I know what the skills of these female contestants are.
Yeah.
Can we tailor a challenge to something that likely, or like, because there's more women than men. You know what I mean? Likely one of them would be eliminated in last place or whatever.
Yeah. You can do something like sing on a wall for whatever else and do whatever else. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we saw in the preview, it's that turning situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Steam wheel or whatever.
Yep.
So there's 10 left. This is episode 16. We're so close.
So close.
All right, so we know Olivia lost. Nerese has got to get the W, right? Nerese won this episode like hands down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And Olivia lost. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
I gotta love Nerese's loyalty in the game. I gotta love her loyalty in the game. I also love that she pops off on people when they're wrong.
She'll be back. She's now a staple there. She's done a great job. Crossy's going to come back.
Fantastic.
Going to come back. Yeah.
Best line?
Michelle had it. I said that Michelle did it because that's one that's stuck in my brain.
The champagne problems.
Champagne problems, right? Like, I have so many friends in this game. That's why I've been protected. But now I'm feeling the hangover.
Yeah, you had that one, but no. Actually, I don't think I bring it up. It's no longer a we thing. It's a me thing. That's the light bulb moment that came through her when she was like, "Jay's telling me these things," but Jay did get it back, and she was like, and he was like, "I'm going to say her name." He's like, "This is no longer a we thing. It's turning into a me thing."
Oh yeah,
as a game. I thought so. Michelle, you brought up and I brought up. I think Michelle gets her one-on-one, her confessional, whatever you want to call it. She did a great job tonight. Last night.
You liked her more this episode, huh?
I liked her confessional. I don't. The rest of it, like, she stood up for herself a little bit, but Jay could care less about her. I don't know why, but he redeemed himself by saying her name. So, like, I don't know.
Trying to think other good lines. Colleen with friends like Olivia, you don't need enemies. Sure. That was good.
Mhm.
Highland, we all know you're not kind.
Mhm.
I mean, Horacio. This episode, okay. So when I take notes, like I try to like I pre-watch the show, or I just watch the show. I don't pre-watch it. I watch the show. I take my notes, and then I go back like right before our podcast, and I highlight things.
Mhm.
I wanted to highlight like everything because this episode was like popping. It was all the things.
Yep.
I didn't like who went home, but it gave me all the things. Gave me like some like Bravo, Real Housewives type drama, some like old school challenge stuff. Gave me a good elimination, like gave me interest in what's going to happen, all the stuff.
But it also gives you that good feel of the reunion episode coming up afterwards, because
Yes.
that's what they're going to give you. So, yeah,
For real. As far as tea, I don't have a whole lot. We do have something that we're going to talk about here in a second.
Sure.
There's a whole lot of speculation about who's going to be on season 40. Nothing's been confirmed, but from what I can tell, it had been rumored that it was going to be a champs only season. Is not a champs only season.
No, I don't like that.
So,
yeah. Good.
So there's all kinds of speculation. I think we'll speculate like when we know a little bit more, and when I know a little bit more from like T. But I'm very curious who's going to be there. Everybody is saying like season 40 is allegedly going to be like big because like 40, like it's freaking crazy. Can you believe we've been watching this that long? That many seasons?
It's good. Like, so can I before, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. Can I like put my producer hat on this and what I think would do for 40? Like,
Sure.
And I know I'm going to be redundant thing. So we have it's 40. Okay, let's just say we're going to do 40 competitors. Okay.
Wow.
And we're gonna split it up into 4. So obviously there's 10, 10, and 10. All right, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Let's go with 10 are coaches. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They could be former champions. They could be whatever else. Doesn't matter. They're people that made it to the finals. Whatever. They're coaches. 10 are champions. Okay. So we're at 20 out of 40. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got 10 that are challengers. Never won anything. Never made it to a final, but they're challengers. Okay. Again, I'm just spitballing right now. And the final 10 out of the 4, just let's just call them chumps because it all starts with the C. You follow me?
Mm-hmm. And who are the chumps?
They're brand new. They're the rookies. They're the ones that get to do whatever else.
So we're on 10. We do not bring in brand new people on season 40. No. It's got to be people we've seen before.
Okay. So what would be under the C's though? Then contenders that we thought you were good enough. Because what I'm saying is like we have, like I said, champions, coaches, challengers, they whatever else, and then just contenders or could have been good enough with a C. Like can't get right, Kyle's. Like I don't know like what to do there.
Almost gets it, Kyle.
No, I don't know. I just brought it up, and I probably shouldn't have wasted too much the listeners' times or whatever else for that. But I was just thinking out loud. So
I like the idea of like piggybacking like the 3 generations. So like there's the like OGs, like the the Mark Longs, the Cyrus, the Veronica.
Yep.
Okay. Then you got the middle. You got the CT, the West, the Brad, and then you got the new people. If you do like that 3-tier, and make teams of 3.
But I like the 40. I like the 40 thing.
But yeah, 40. It doesn't. Teams of 4. I don't know. I
think I'm
like
on
I
something. I think we're
originally
on
was
something.
like super down for the all champs, but the reality of the situation is the majority of the champs, especially like the champs from like prior seasons like 30 and before, families, kids, careers, hard to get away for 8 weeks.
Sure. Yeah, I know. They've been. We know the people that would be okay with getting away with it, but yeah, we're spitballing about things that you just brought up on T or whatever else, and I think we're in the producers' ears. We'll figure it out. So,
But we
yeah.
said years ago, like maybe one of our first seasons we recapped, we said like a new school and an old school, like a over 30 under like an over 35 like under 35 duo.
Yeah.
We said that before. I'm not mad at that idea.
No, I'm not either. No.
So
I
I
want
don't
to
know,
see
we'll
something.
see.
Yeah.
And the way it's going to go, so we're going to continue to finish out the season. Then it's going to go all stars. They're probably going to give us like a random USA because CBS gets really good numbers. And that'll be over the summer. And then next fall, we'll get 40. But it's getting ready to film like right now. All right. So let's talk home turf.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was good. Yeah.
Well, okay. First, you last week were all like, I'm not going to watch it because it's on YouTube and I don't know how to watch things on YouTube and I'm not going to waste my time on that. And then you text me as I'm watching it that you thought it was good.
Yeah, I said solid.
On Monday night,
said,
the night it aired, you were like,
of course.
oh my God, that was good.
Because, yeah, I'm not like YouTube. I mean, obviously I have YouTube TV or whatever else, but I don't usually watch things on YouTube. I don't make an appointment. If YouTube's making appointment television, good for them. It really is, because I like appointment television. I still adore that type of thing. Like, I need to watch it every Sunday night. When their situation, it's every Monday night now on Mondays at 8:00. It was good. I like to see the background. Thought it could have been a little bit more in depth. Thought there were some things I'm like, we just kind of got a little bit fast for this, or we fast forward. I would like to see more of his background and everything else. There's a lot to go on. The DM thing, there's a lot more to go on. But
okay,
again, we have hour. That's about it.
So it was about CT. So every episode's going to be about a different challenger.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with CT was brilliant.
Sure.
The way you talk to me in general, I think you try to talk down to me. That's how you is. Why? You're very rude to me. Wait, don't you? Quit on me! Don't you?
That's a whole lot of diapers, man.
I agree. Like some of the, growing up stuff would have been nice. Like I would have liked to see like more of like what his like athletics background, that kind of stuff. A lot of the like him being cast and stuff I knew just from like listening to podcasts, like when he's been interviewed. The DM stuff for me, we've talked about this multiple times. You know how that just like lives in my heart. And I feel like that lives in like so many challengers' hearts because that story is just beautiful. Their love,
right there
and it
with
was
you.
like
We could be holding hands,
like
frolicking through a forest. I'm right there with it. It's the only time like I kind of like teared up a little bit. But again,
they were endgame. They were endgame for each other.
It's rocky, it's down, it's up, or whatever else. That love story is something else. So,
and it's been alleged that CT in his previous relationship, like he like was kind of discouraged from talking publicly about DM.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. Whatever. But you know, now he's single and he is speaking about it. And me, like, okay, so when there was that like challenge documentary like a year ago, and he like when they like asked to talk about DM, and he just like got up and was like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I loved so much that he allowed that conversation to happen.
Yeah.
And it's so like a gruff dad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna talk to you about this, but I'm not gonna get like too deep because like I'm protecting my feelings. Do you know what I mean?
So I guess like he's very protective in general. Okay. So like he's only gonna let so many people in. Like, so let's go back to like even the show. I mean the home turf when he's talking about things, but he's still not letting them in on his personal life now, his kids or whatever else that he's separated or anything. And he's not letting him anything else. But then he gives you the glimpse of why he doesn't do it. He talks about being at Real World, and he's like, they told me I'm going to film this and that. And he's like, so I can go do this? And he knew to just go explore Paris.
Right.
He let you in on why he doesn't let you in on a lot of things. And
yeah, and he said he had like a different life in Paris and almost stayed there.
100%. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
The biggest bomb for me was, we suspected that they were together and that we knew that they loved each other. It was very apparent, I felt, on Exodus 2. But he essentially tells us that they were together and had been together that season.
Yeah.
And like a little bit before, they just like weren't like public about it. And so that like, kind of breaks your heart a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because you're just like,
but it's true.
But it also at the same time is like they got to be together,
Yeah.
But that whole story just like
it's great. We all know it.
DM was wonderful. And like I mean I never met her. I don't know these people. But watching the show, like she was such a light, and like it was very obvious their love that they had for each other and all the like freaking ups and downs they went through. And then, the way that it ended.
Well,
for him to finally speak about it to me, like I appreciated that he was open to speaking about it.
And I appreciate you. And I think like we talked about like last week, like Emery's starting to watch like challenges back and forth, blah blah blah. So I think to me is like there's going to be moments. There's going to be like the blind side, bananas, whatever else. But I'm excited for her to watch like this thing about DM and CT. That's a cool thing. You know what I'm saying? That she gets to watch that.
Storyline. I always tell people, I've had several friends of mine be like, oh, you have a podcast? Like several, being like two. Like, can I watch this show? And I'm like, yeah, like here it is. And they're like, oh my God, there's so many seasons. Where do I start? And I'm like, here. And I always tell them, like an easy route would be start with like Fresh Meat. Because that's where we meet DM. And it would be doing someone a disservice if they're going to watch the challenge not to meet DM and do that story, because it's so pivotal.
And that's a great way to take away from this home turf thing for YouTube. Yeah.
And I loved him going back like an old, reminded me of like an old football player being like, all right, this season, yeah, I could have won it. We should have done that. I remember exactly how that went down. And like, this is what, like, I feel like it's like a conversation with like an old friend. Like, yeah, this game, I did this and like, I should have made that pass and I didn't make that pass, or, like I struck out. and the bases were, like things like that.
Yeah.
Like going back on those moments and being like, here's like, even though I have all these wins and I have all this life experience and whatever, like I can tell you, I can point out the parts where like I made a mistake and like I could have won.
Yeah.
But then he says so beautifully, he's like, we had a great time. We had the best time. And he said, these new people, like it's all about winning, but like not everybody's going to win. So just, like try to enjoy yourself. And he had the best line at the end where he's like,
one thing I've learned over the years, I can honestly say, is just when you think you have all the answers, life is gonna go and change all the questions. So just roll with it and just try to enjoy yourself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And I got so geeked out. Like I got so geeked out when you texted me and told me you were watching it. I'm like, I cannot believe Jay is watching this right now.
Yeah, well, yeah. I can't not watch that. It's something new. Yeah. Thing, yeah. So cannot not watch it. So
it'll be interesting to see like, the different competitors because like that started on such a high note. Oh, and he gave Cara all the flowers.
Absolutely did. Yeah.
I loved that. I knew their relationship and like how they knew each other, but a casual challenge viewer might not know that. So I like that came up, but it will be interesting to see like, cause like I know Amanda is going to be one of the people that's covered on this. And I like Amanda. I find her entertaining as hell, but she's one of those people that I feel like people either love or hate.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be an interesting, episode to watch.
Yeah. Let's recap on that. Yeah. We'll figure it out. So is that going to be every Monday?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my understanding at this point.
They upload it. Yeah. I don't know why I can't believe YouTube's doing appointment television, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just like when you upload your stuff, you just can like hit to premiere at a certain point.
Speaking of our show, you can watch it.
We've done that.
You can subscribe to us, and you can do all that other stuff. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So should we close it out there,
All right.
G-Bird?
That's gonna be a wrap, I think.
All right. Well, follow us on Twitter, Final Alliance 1, Instagram, Final Alliance, on YouTube, we're Final Alliance Podcast. Please comment, subscribe. We love to hear what you have to say, and on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, we're Final Alliance Podcast.